There are lives shattered just because of a thoughtless word. There are relationships permanently broken by a momentary reaction. And there are amazing opportunities that appear simply because of a wise word, said at the right time and in the right way. Communication is not just about speaking, it is power. Leverage, a door that leads you to the future you desire. And today, I will tell you everything you need to know to communicate wisely and behave appropriately in this life. Life operates through invisible connections between people. Some people only need to say a single sentence to be respected. Others may speak 1,000 words, yet no one listens. And the most interesting thing is, the difference does not lie in the volume of the voice, but in the depth of the mind behind the words. Wise communication is not about talking more or speaking better, but about saying exactly what needs to be said. To the right person, at the right time, and in the right way. Proper conduct is not about enduring to the point of being disrespected. It is about knowing how to set boundaries, respect yourself, knowing when to remain silent, and when to stand up. In the journey of life, you will realize that not everyone deserves your openness, and not every conversation is worth your energy. Some people only wait for you to speak, so they can use your own words against you. Some situations are such that a single ill-timed word can make you lose a job, a friendship, or even your own image. Therefore, the wise are not those who speak the most. The wise are those who speak the least, yet most effectively. The first principle in the art of wise communication is to understand the person before speaking to them. Each person is a world of their own. They have fears, expectations, wounds, egos, pride, and weaknesses. If you speak without understanding, it leads to arguments. If you speak with deep understanding, it creates connection. When you truly listen to others, when you truly open your eyes to see the emotions within them, you will know what needs to be said, what should not be said, and what should be kept within. A wise man once said, "In communication, the most dangerous thing is not words themselves, but words spoken without thought." We often react immediately according to emotion. Someone provokes us, we get angry. Someone insults us, we lash out. Someone misunderstands, we try to explain. But the more impulsive the reaction, the less wise we are. Words spoken in anger often cut deeper than a knife and leave wounds longer than we may imagine. The wise do not react emotionally. They react according to values. Before speaking, they ask themselves, is this worth saying? What is the purpose of saying it? Does it solve anything, or is it just venting? If the answer does not serve a positive purpose, they remain silent. Silence at the right moment is one of the most powerful weapons in communication. It shows both strength and self-control, while protecting you from countless troubles you never anticipated. Some think silence is weakness, but in reality, timely silence is a form of strength. Anyone can speak, but not everyone can stay silent. Silence when necessary is wisdom. Speaking at the right time is art. In conduct, one of the hardest things is staying calm when provoked. Life always has people who like to push boundaries. See if you get upset or test your limits. But if you let your emotions be controlled by others, you will always be a victim. The wise never let others control their mood. They understand that emotions are their own responsibility, not anyone else's. And in communication, you need to understand this. Not everyone deserves your explanation. Sometimes, the more you explain, the more you are misunderstood. Sometimes, the more you talk, the lower people think of you. Sometimes, the more you try to prove yourself right, the smaller you appear in others' eyes. The wise choose to explain to those who understand them, not to beg those who don't want to understand. Proper conduct is knowing when to walk away, when to keep distance, and when to pause a conversation to protect your peace of mind. A crucial skill in communication is asking questions instead of judging. The unwise judge. Why did you do that? The wise ask, what led you to make that decision? The same situation, but two completely different outcomes. One closes doors, the other opens them. One makes the other defensive, the other encourages. Sharing. Communication is not only about speaking, but about creating a space where others feel safe to talk. And when people feel respected, they will respect you. When they feel heard, they will listen to you. When they sense your goodwill, they will open up. This is how you build lasting relationships. Asterisk in conduct. The most important things are self-respect and boundaries. Self-respect is not arrogance. Arrogance distances you from others. Self-respect is gentle but firm. It is knowing clearly what you will not accept, what you will not compromise on, what you will not tolerate, without needing to shout it out. Boundaries are not about pushing others away. They are about keeping yourself close to what is right. The wise in conduct know how to say no without hurting others, and yes without hurting themselves. As you grow, you will understand that not everyone needs to be kept, and not every relationship needs to be forced. Some relationships exist only to teach you lessons: how to forgive, how to let go, how to reset your own values. Some people enter your life only to remind you that not everyone who smiles at you is a friend, and not everyone who is silent is an enemy. Wise communication helps you see who is sincere, who is deceitful, who deserves your time, and who only seeks to take advantage. Proper conduct helps you maintain peace, even when life is not peaceful. 1 thing you need to remember: the wise do not aim to win every argument. They choose what matters more: peace, truth, or self-respect. Sometimes losing an argument is winning in life. Observe successful, composed, respected people. They never speak excessively. They speak accurately, that's all. When they praise, their words change others. When they advise, their words make others reconsider. When they remain silent, their silence makes others reflect. That is the power of someone who knows how to communicate. Proper conduct also means understanding that you don't always need to respond immediately. Some conversations need time to settle, time to think, to understand your own emotions before saying anything. Adults do not answer immediately, they answer correctly. Sometimes, proper conduct is simply walking away. Walking away from toxic conversations. Walking away from people obsessed with winning arguments. Walking away from environments where you constantly have to defend yourself with words. Walking away from relationships where you have to perform, pretend, or overextend yourself. Adults understand that peace is more valuable than being right. But don't get me wrong. Wise communication does not mean being so meek that anyone can say or do whatever they want. Proper conduct does not mean yielding so others can step over you. Wisdom is not weakness. Kindness is not frailty. Politeness is not fear. The wise know how to stand up when needed. They know how to speak clearly when needed. They know how to protect their values without hurting others. You must be strong enough to say, enough. Calm enough to say, I do not like the way you treat me. Proud enough to walk away. from those who do not appreciate you. And finally, the strongest thing in communication is sincerity. You can learn techniques, skills, even how to modulate your voice. But if your heart is not genuine, your words will never touch anyone. Sincerity is not about exposing your heart. Sincerity is not deceiving others and not deceiving yourself. When you speak with sincerity, your words carry weight. When you act with true kindness, others feel it, even if you do not speak much. Sincerity creates trust. Calmness creates respect. Wisdom creates influence. And when all three come together, they help you build the life you desire. Proper conduct is not only about what you do when things go smoothly, but also about how you maintain yourself when everything becomes chaotic. It is in the most tense moments that a person's true nature is revealed. Those without a solid foundation in communication often let emotions drive their actions, whereas the wise know how to let reason take the wheel. Even when inner storms rage, in life, you will encounter people who speak beautifully but act poorly. People who speak sweetly but whose actions hurt you. And people who speak little but always prioritize kindness. What is trustworthy is not words, but the consistency between words and actions. A mature person never lets their promises become cheap. They do not say what they cannot do, nor promise what they are not certain of. In communication, sometimes daring to say, "I'm not ready to respond," is more valuable than forcing words out just for the sake of saying something. One of the greatest mistakes in communication is trying to be perfect. Trying to appear knowledgeable, strong, or right in every situation. The truth is, no one likes someone who always insists on being right. Truly intelligent people do not need to prove their intelligence in every sentence. They let their actions and energy speak for themselves. The wise understand that sometimes respect comes from humility. Humility is not about lowering yourself, but about recognizing your true value without needing to flaunt it for others' approval. In daily conduct, you will notice that tone often weighs more than content. The same words, spoken with different tones, can create completely different emotions. A gentle suggestion can change someone's life. A harsh reprimand, even if correct, can destroy the listener's spirit. When you speak, others hear with their emotions before they hear with their ears. A wise communicator pays attention not only to what they say, but to how they say it. Sadly, many of us spend time learning knowledge, skills, and how to earn money, yet do not spend enough time learning how to talk. Then they lose friends due to blunt words, lose loved ones because of careless speech, lose opportunities due to a lack of subtlety in communication. Only then do they realize words can either save you or destroy you. It all depends on how you use them. One of the highest levels of communication is the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes. When you understand the emotions, circumstances, fears, and needs of the person you're speaking to, you will avoid words that hurt them. Empathy does not mean agreeing with everyone. It means understanding that everyone has their own pain and reasons for their actions. People with high emotional intelligence always choose gentleness without weakness, compassion without being exploited. Proper conduct also means knowing when to be firm. Some situations will treat you lightly if you are too soft. Some relationships will take advantage of your kindness. Some people only understand limits when you set them clearly. Firmness does not need to be loud. True firmness is often quiet. It is looking someone in the eye and saying, "I do not accept the way you treat me." It is decisively leaving toxic conversations. It is not over-explaining, not begging anyone to stay, not bowing down to keep what is undeserving. The wise understand that self-respect is always more important than pleasing others. In communication, if you want respect, you must first learn to respect yourself. Do not speak carelessly. Do not react impulsively. Do not let emotions control your words. And most importantly, do not lower yourself to make others more comfortable. The cruelest thing you can do to yourself is to trade your own value for the approval of people who do not matter. Another important rule in conduct is never fight a battle where the other person only wants to win, not to understand. Some people argue not to find truth, but to assert their ego. Explaining to them is like pouring water into a bottomless bucket. It wastes time and it will never be full. The wise know when to stop. They choose serenity over trying to change the unchangeable. One of the wisest communication strategies is to remove emotion from the conversation. You cannot have a deep discussion with an angry person. You cannot reconcile with someone whose mind is on fire. You cannot explain to someone guided by pain. When emotion dominates, reason disappears. Adults understand that waiting for emotions to cool down is always more effective than arguing when both sides are tense. In communication, one extremely effective but rarely practiced skill is active listening. Listening is not just staying silent while someone else speaks. Listening is understanding what they are trying to convey, not just the words they say. Listening with your eyes, your emotions, your full attention. A person who knows how to listen is always cherished, trusted, and respected. Have you noticed? People who listen well tend to have deeper and more lasting relationships. Those who only speak but do not listen usually have only superficial connections. When you listen, you give others a sense of being acknowledged. And when they feel acknowledged, they open up to you. This is the foundation of every relationship, from friendship and love to work. But wise communication is not just about speaking and listening. It is also about observing. Observe. Observe eyes. Observe. Energy. Observe. Observe what is left unsaid. Sometimes the most important things lie in the pauses between words. You can understand a person through their silence more than through their speech. Some are silent out of respect. Some are silent out of pain. Some are silent out of contempt. Some are silent because they are thinking, and some are silent because they have given up. Understanding others' silence is also a form of intelligence. Proper conduct is also knowing what to prioritize in life. Do not spend energy on petty conversations. Do not waste time proving your value to those who cannot see it. Do not let others' words control you. You cannot control what others say, but you can always control what you believe. A mature person will not let anyone define their value. They define their value through actions, attitude, and consistency with what is right. Finally, wise communication and proper conduct both begin with a peaceful heart. A wounded heart will speak with pain. A fearful heart will speak defensively. A hurt heart will speak with anger. But a peaceful heart will speak with wisdom, empathy, and gentle strength. To communicate well, you must first care for your soul. You must heal yourself so you do not project harm onto others. You must understand yourself too. Understand others. You must love yourself to neither yield foolishly nor be blindly arrogant. Inner peace is the root of all proper conduct. When your mind is calm, your words naturally carry weight. When your mind is clear, your behavior naturally becomes correct. When your mind is expansive, you know how to understand others, let go of trivial things, and focus only on what matters. This is the destination of communicative wisdom. The most interesting aspect of communication and conduct lies in this. The more mature you become, the less you speak, yet the more you understand. You no longer react too quickly, no longer fight to win, no longer let pride guide you. Instead, you focus on truth, on what truly matters, and on maintaining your own peace without harming others. As we grow, we gradually realize that there are two types of communication: communication to show off and communication to connect. The immature always want to show off, to prove they are right, to seek recognition, to make others understand their position. A position. Connection is more important. Connection is more important than being right. Respect is more important than being right. Respect is more important than winning. The emotions of the person opposite you matter more than having the last word in life. You will meet those whose words are strong but whose hearts are weak, and also those whose words are gentle but whose hearts are firm. True strength is not in speaking loudly, but in controlling a situation without raising your voice. True wisdom is not in reacting fast, but in reacting correctly. True subtlety is not in using beautiful words, but in speaking at the right time. Wisdom in communication sometimes comes from asking yourself two questions. What is my purpose? Will what I am about to say be helpful? If the answer is unclear, there is no need to speak. If your words do not solve anything, reconsider. If you are speaking merely to satisfy a passing emotion, remain silent. A thoughtless word can make a day miserable. A malicious word can destroy an entire relationship. A hasty word can make you apologize for years afterward. You cannot take back what you've said, but you can always learn to speak more carefully. Wise communication uses words as tools to heal, not as weapons. The intelligent use words to build. The unwise use words to destroy. Choose to be someone with whom others feel safe speaking, not someone who makes them wary of every word. One of the highest expressions of mature conduct is the ability to accept differences. No two people are alike. No one shares exactly the same perspective. No one experiences emotions in the exact same way. You do not need to agree with everyone to respect them, nor do you need to make everyone agree with you to live in peace. Differences create conflict, but they also create richness. The wise do not try to turn others into copies of themselves. They strive to understand their world. One of the greatest mistakes in communication is listening to respond rather than listening to understand. When others speak, many only wait for their turn to reply. They do not truly listen. They do not truly feel. They do not truly try to understand what the other person carries in their heart. This is why many relationships gradually become shallow, superficial, and disconnected. If you want to improve any relationship with a partner, children, colleagues, or even your own parents, practice listening to understand, not to argue. Sometimes what others need is not advice, but presence, not analysis, but empathy, not solutions, but the feeling of being heard. In communication, warmth can soothe what reason cannot. A gentle voice can mend what 20 accusations cannot. A hand on the shoulder at the right moment can change someone's entire day. But true warmth must come from the heart, genuine care, not pretense or compulsion. If you are kind only to be seen as kind, you will be disappointed. If you help others, only to receive recognition, you will be hurt. Proper conduct is acting with a pure heart, without motive, without calculation. The wise are kind because it is their nature, not because they expect something in return. Yet kindness does not mean allowing others to overstep your boundaries. Kindness does not mean tolerating disrespect. Kindness does not mean remaining silent when insulted. Being kind to others is good, but being kind to yourself is essential. In conduct, sometimes the hardest thing is saying no, without guilt, but you owe no one your agreement. Do not let your goodwill become an open door for others to destroy your peace. Remember, you cannot pour water from an empty cup. Do not let life take so much of your energy that you have nothing left for yourself. Another principle of wise communication is understanding that not everything needs to be said. Some truths must be spoken immediately. Some truths should be spoken gently. Some truths should be spoken only when the other is ready to hear. And some truths need not be spoken at all, for speaking them would only hurt. Without solving anything, the mature choose words as carefully as a tool, using the right one at the right time. Use words to heal, not to wound. Use words to build, not to prove ego. One of the most difficult arts in conduct is not reacting to insults. The more mature you become, the more you understand that most insults come from the other person's insecurity. People speak harshly not because of your shortcomings, but because of their own lack. They want to pull you down to feel superior. More you react, the more you fall into their trap. The calmer you remain, the more you unsettle them. Asterisk, asterisk. Truly strong people never let others control their emotions with a few words. They know that their silence can be the strongest response. Another essential skill is communicating briefly but profoundly. Some speak a lot, yet no one remembers. Some speak little, yet every word makes others think. Why? Because their words come from observation, experience, and inner reflection. You do not need to speak like an orator to be respected. You only need to speak like someone who understands life and people. You do not need to speak at length. You only need to speak truthfully. No need to teach anyone. Just share what you have experienced, witnessed, and realized. Listeners will sense it themselves. One of the highest expressions of conduct is the ability to remain composed in conflict. No one avoids conflict. No one lives without arguments, misunderstandings, or debates. But the difference lies in how you face them. The uncontrolled blame. The immature shout. The unintelligent strike at others' weaknesses. The mature are different. They do not seek a culprit. They seek solutions. They do not aim to win the argument. They aim to save the relationship. They do not react impulsively. They choose their words carefully. They use reason to connect, not emotions to fight. This is a level that few reach. A wise communicator always carries composure. Composure does not come by chance. It comes from experience, from wounds, from regrets over ill-chosen words, from understanding that silence is sometimes wiser than speaking excessively. Finally, wise communication and proper conduct are not just skills. They are part of character. You cannot pretend to be kind if your heart is not truly kind. You cannot pretend to be patient if your mind is restless. You cannot communicate with subtlety if you do not learn to listen to yourself. To speak beautifully, your heart must be beautiful. To act rightly, your mind must be clear. To give words weight, your life must have depth. That is why truly mature people continually upgrade themselves. Not to communicate better, but to live better. And when you live well, your communication naturally becomes its most beautiful version. When you step into a new phase of life, you realize this. People do not change simply because you are right. They change when they feel enough, and this is especially true in communication. You can give someone hundreds of pieces of advice. You can present logic, evidence, and analysis. But if their heart is not open enough, their awareness not mature enough, and their perspective not deep enough, all your words will just pass like wind through their ears. That is why wisdom in communication is not about speaking more, but understanding more. It is not about winning an argument, but knowing what is more important than a dispute. It is not about proving you are right, but choosing the right moment to remain silent. Some people spend their whole lives without learning this simple truth. Wisdom does not mean putting on a show. It does not mean making yourself bigger. It does not mean using words that sound strong. Wisdom, it's the clarity to recognize what to let go, where to stop, and who to keep your distance from to protect your heart. Because in life, you are hurt less by others than by trusting the wrong people with your sincerity. And to know who is worthy and who is not. No need to ask. No need to interrogate. No need to probe. Just observe how they communicate with you. 1. The way people speak to you reveals their true character. Think back. Have you ever been kind to someone, only for them to interpret your silence as weakness? Have you ever yielded to someone, only for them to think you were afraid? Have you ever chosen to speak sparingly, only for them to take it as an opportunity to impose on you? It's not your fault, it's their nature. How someone treats you when you are silent shows their true value. How someone behaves when they think you won't resist reveals their real character. How someone speaks in anger reflects the deepest nature they always try to hide. In communication, you don't need to force anyone to be honest. You just need to create a space calm enough, and they will reveal themselves. Point 2. Wise communication begins with lowering expectations and increasing observation. Many people are disappointed not because the world is cruel, but because they expect too much kindness from others. When you wait for someone to understand you, you will be disappointed. When you wait for someone to treat you fairly, you will be hurt. When you hope someone will act maturely, you will feel pain. But when you observe, instead of expecting everything becomes clear, you will see who is trustworthy and who only speaks pre-tillawai, who is careless and who is indifferent, who speaks to you from the heart and who only speaks from the mouth. The wise do not rush to judge, but they do not forgive blindly either. They look at life like looking at a clear stream, careful, but not suspicious without reason, trusting, but not giving themselves entirely, understanding, but not letting anyone exploit them. 3. The power of calmness in communication. A calm person can do 3 things that an impulsive person never can. Hear what is left unsaid, because when your mind is still, you can perceive the emotions hidden behind the words. Control the tone and energy of the conversation. A calm person amid chaos is always the strongest. Make wise decisions without being driven by emotions. Words spoken from clarity are always more precise, concise, and sharp than words born of anger. Many speak loudly, but lack real power. Many speak forcefully, but their words carry no weight. True strength lies in using calmness to guide the conversation. A small remark from such a person can sometimes be more valuable than a full speech from someone else. 4. Proper conduct. Neither meek nor aggressive. Know your standards. Many misunderstand proper conduct as being gentle, tolerant, and always soft. This is not correct. Proper conduct means you know your own limits. You do not remain silent in the face of wrongdoing. But you also do not waste energy fixing the unfixable. You respect others, but you do not let anyone cross the line to hurt you. Proper conduct is knowing where to be firm gives be firm where. To be soft gives be soft where. To be silent gives be silent where. To be decisive gives be decisive. You do not need to change to please the world. You just need to stay true to your values. 5. Wisdom in speech. Few but accurate. Slow but certain. Gentle but impactful. Wisdom is not about speaking beautifully. Wisdom is about speaking at the right time. Not every question needs an answer. Not everyone deserves an explanation. Not every situation requires words to defend yourself. Sometimes silence is enough. You will notice the more mature you become, the less you speak. The more you experience, the more you realize words are not for winning, but for illuminating yourself. A profound person speaks little because they understand. It is not the words that matter, but the awareness behind them. A wise person speaks slowly because they know one wrong word in anger can destroy a lifelong relationship, and a strong person speaks firmly because they know clearly what they want and what they will never accept. Point 6. Handling different types of people. An art. Not everyone knows some people are good, and some make you grow. Both are important, but you must know how to communicate appropriately with each type. With kind people gives be sincere they deserve it. With hot-tempered people gives stay calm do not pour fuel on the fire. With critical people gives listen selectively. Not everything they say is right. With manipulative people gives keep your distance. Not let them touch your emotions. With malicious people gives be clear and decisive. No compromise. No indulgence. With loved ones gives be patient. The greatest love is understanding them at their worst moments. Proper conduct is not about pleasing everyone. It is knowing who deserves what and who does not deserve anything from you. 7. Wisdom in communication. Not to surpass others, but to surpass yourself. Yes. World grows noisier every day. Everyone wants to speak. Everyone wants to be right. Everyone wants to prove they are smart, but only a few choose to live differently. They speak less to understand more. They communicate not to win, but to connect. They act not to impress, but to find inner peace. Wisdom in speech does not make you arrogant. Wisdom makes you free. Wisdom keeps you out of meaningless arguments. It keeps you from getting lost in other people's drama. It keeps you from being controlled by negative emotions. It keeps you from being manipulated by those who enjoy putting you at a disadvantage. You will notice the wiser you become, the lighter life feels, the more understanding you are, the calmer your heart, not because the world is better but because you are better. Point 8. Empathy. The highest level of intelligent communication. Someone can speak eloquently but not understand others. Someone can communicate skillfully but fail to touch emotions. Someone can persuade effectively but not make anyone feel heard. Only empathy can do that. Empathy is not pity. It is not sacrifice. It is not weakness. Empathy is the ability to see the pain beneath harsh words, understand the hurt behind silence, sense the helplessness behind a forced smile. And when you are empathetic, you communicate more subtly, deeply, and maturely. Empathy prevents premature judgment. It helps you speak in the right place. It helps you avoid, unintentionally, hurting anyone. That helps you resolve conflicts without causing embarrassment. Empathy is the art of communication for great souls. 9 Wise conduct helps you avoid meaningless battles. You grow up when you begin to choose. Not every battle is worth joining. Some people you must refuse. Some stories you must stay out of. Some situations require you to be very clear. I will not participate in this. The wise know how to protect their energy. They do not waste words on those who do not want to understand. They do not give advice to those who do not want to change. They do not explain to those who deliberately misinterpret. This is not arrogance. This is maturity. In the journey of maturity, you will realize a hard to swallow, but undeniable truth. No one goes through life without encountering conflicts. Conflicts arise within families, at work, in love, among friends, and sometimes even within oneself. But what separates the wise from the impulsive is not whether they face conflict, but how they handle it. Some turn conflict into a battlefield. Some turn conflict into a lesson. Some turn conflict into an opportunity to understand one another better. And some use conflict to achieve extraordinary growth. Wise communication does not mean avoiding every problem, but facing it in a way that earns voluntary respect from others, not reluctant compliance, because respect cannot be asked for, forced, or bought. It can only be created through the strength of your character. 1. When conflict arises, the first thing you must control is not the other person, but your own energy. People often react instinctively in conflict, speaking louder, speaking faster, speaking sharply, speaking to win, speaking to put others down, speaking to vent their anger. But the wise do not act this way. They know that when emotions flare, every word becomes a weapon, not a weapon for defense, but a weapon that can break a relationship. Thus, in the moment a conflict begins, the most important thing is not what you say, but how much of your calm you can preserve. Keep 20% gives. You avoid saying harmful things. Keep 50% gives. You avoid hurting others. Keep 80% gives. You maintain yourself. Keep 100% gives. You control the conversation. The ability to control emotions is the highest level of emotional intelligence. And when you master your energy, you becometh guide of the dialogue, not a victim of your own feelings. 2. Do not argue when the other person is angry. This is not weakness. It is strength. There is an unchanging principle in high-level communication. Do not argue with someone who has lost control. People often speak the most when they are least rational. People often speak incorrectly when they are angriest. At that moment, reasoning is useless. Gentleness is useless. Analysis is useless. Right or wrong is useless. Only time can cool a heated mind. And the wise understand this. They do not chase after the other person's emotions. They do not jump into meaningless battles. They do not rush to override another's voice. They simply say, when you are calmer, we can continue this conversation. This statement is not fear, not avoidance, not concession, and not blame. That it comes from someone who knows exactly they are in control of the situation. In that moment, you become the most mature person in the argument, and that is why others begin to respect you. Respect does not come from winning a debate. Respect comes from staying composed when everyone else loses their calm. 3. When others raise their voice, you slow down. When they attack, you use calmness to neutralize. No one handles conflict effectively like someone who can adjust their speaking pace and volume. This is not just a communication technique. It is a psychological strategy. When the other speaks fast, gives. You speak slowly. When the other speaks loudly, gives. You lower your voice. When the other attacks personally, gives. You do not immediately retaliate. When the other blames, gives. You focus on facts, not emotions. By slowing down, their mind is forced to slow down. They cannot sustain anger in front of someone who does not meet fury with fury. You become the anchor of calm amidst their emotional storm, and an anchor is always stronger than the waves, not because it is loud, but because it is steady. That is why calm people naturally make others lower their voices. They do not need to shout, yet everyone listens. They do not need to threaten, yet everyone is cautious. They do not need to win, yet in the end, they are the victors. 4. How to earn respect. Be clear, but not rude. Decisive but not hurtful. People often confuse straightforward with rude. Someone who snaps at everything and says, "I'm just honest," that is not honesty. That is immaturity. By contrast, the wise have a way of speaking that commands respect. They speak clearly, no beating around the bush, no hidden meanings. No backstabbing. Clarity is the language of the strong. They speak with respect, no insults, no humiliation, no harming someone's dignity. Respect is not a gift, it is a deliberate choice. They speak to the point, no bringing up the past, no exaggerating, no venting anger. They focus on the issue, not the person. They set clear boundaries. Boundaries are declarations of self-respect. Boundaries are not about dividing, but protecting inner peace. Examples of strong yet polite statements. I understand your point, but I cannot accept the way you are speaking right now. We can continue, but with mutual respect in tone. I will not participate if this conversation continues to be personally attacking. You may disagree with me, but you cannot disrespect me. These words are not loud, yet they carry weight, because they come from someone who understands their own value. 5. When others deliberately provoke, let them stand alone with their childishness. There are people who like to tease, like to attack, like to provoke, like to make you angry, like to drag you down to their low energy. With these people, you do not need to prove your intelligence. You only need to prove you are not foolish enough to fall into their trap. A key phrase the wise always remember: not every situation is worth responding to. You can remain silent. This is not defeat. This is choice. You can smile, not disdain, but simply to avoid absorbing negative energy. You can walk away, not fear, but because you know you are worth more than a petty quarrel. No one can drag you down to their level if you do not stand near them. 6. Respectful communication is about energy, not just words. Words are merely the clothing. Energy is the soul of communication. Notice this. Some speak lightly, yet everyone stops to listen. Some speak quietly, yet the entire room pays attention. Some speak normally, yet their words carry weight like a declaration. Why? Because they have three things: confidence rooted in true value, not the forced, showy, or imposing kind, but confidence derived from experience, character, and deep self-understanding. Calmness in their energy. Calm people make others calm. They are like still waters, reflecting back others' emotions. Clarity in attitude, no half measures, no ambiguity, no confusion. People respect clarity above almost everything else. Communication is not about speaking eloquently. It is about Standing firm in your own energy. 7. How to make others open up instead of being defensive and effective. Exchange is not when you speak a lot, but when the other person is willing to listen and to make others open up. You must speak in a way that does not feel attacking. Here are 4 highly effective yet subtle communication techniques. Use I instead of you. I feel, I think, I would like, instead of you always. You never, because I focuses on feelings. You triggers, blame gives. The other immediately puts up a shield. Separate the issue from the person. Do not say, you are wrong. Say this. Information seems inaccurate. Acknowledge their emotions before presenting your opinion. People only hear you when they feel understood. Ask questions instead of imposing. What do you think about this? This makes the conversation more equal. Advanced communication always leaves the listener feeling, I am respected. And when they feel that way, they naturally respect you. Point 8. Letting go at the right time is sometimes the wisest communication. There is no need to explain. Sometimes there is no need to answer. Sometimes there is no need to continue. Letting go is not giving up. Letting go is not admitting defeat. Letting go is the maturity of someone who understands life better. Letting go happens when you realize this conversation is no longer about understanding each other, but about seeing who gets hurt more. This argument is no longer about solving a problem, but about seeing who shouts louder. This dialogue is no longer about reconciliation, but about seeing who hurts whom more. When you understand this, you realize sometimes silence is the highest form of response. There are lessons about communication that people only realize after failing enough times, hurting long enough, and being wounded deeply enough. We often think communication is about speaking eloquently, speaking frequently, or speaking attractively. But true wise communication is knowing when to be silent, when to stop, and knowing the right person to open your heart to. You can speak 100 sentences to the wrong person, and no one will understand you. But you only need to speak 1 sentence to the right person, and they will understand you, even if you haven't said everything. And that is the essence of high-level communication. It is not about speaking more, it is about speaking rightly. 1. Don't share your innermost thoughts with those who aren't capable of understanding them. Not everyone deserves the deepest parts of your heart. You cannot share your pain with someone who only wants to hear happy things. You cannot share your dreams with someone who only spreads fear. You cannot share your big plans with someone who never dares to go beyond their street. People can only understand you within the limits of their own thinking. Someone who views the world with skepticism cannot support your dreams. Someone who lives in fear cannot encourage you to move forward. Someone who constantly judges cannot comfort you in your suffering. So, not everyone should hear your story. Not every matter should be spoken aloud. Keeping what is important to yourself is not secrecy, it is wisdom. 2. Wise communication is knowing how to observe the other person's emotions. One of the most subtle communication skills few people understand. Observe before speaking, before sharing something important. Notice, are their eyes attentive? Is their mood stable? Are they in a hurry? Are they calm enough to receive what you say? Because the right word at the right moment can save a heart. The wrong word at the wrong moment can destroy a relationship. You may have excellent advice. You may have sincere words of comfort. But if the listener is tired, stressed, or unsettled, Even the best words can become a burden. Wise communication is choosing the right moment to plant the right words. 3. Less often carries more power the more mature you become. The more you realize, the wise do not use words to perform, they use words to create value. When we are not yet wise, we speak to be heard. When we are mature, we speak to help others understand. When we are truly wise, we speak to create change, and the wiser we are, the less we speak, because silence gives us time to observe. Silence prevents us from saying foolish things. Silence gives others the chance to reveal themselves. Silence creates respect. Can sometimes carry more weight than 1,000 words. You do not need to speak much to prove intelligence. You only need to speak rightly so others cannot deny your wisdom. 4. True communication puts the heart before the mouth. Single word can be remembered for a minute, but a word from the heart can be remembered for a lifetime. When you approach others with sincerity, the angry soften. The cold warm up. The distant open their hearts. People do not remember every word you say, but they remember the feeling you bring. If your words make them feel safe, gives. They trust you. If your words make them feel respected, gives. They cherish you. If your words make them feel understood, gives. They stay with you. Communication is not a technique. Communication is heart. Subtlety plus understanding. 5. Do not try to win with words. Win by the value you bring. Many people make mistakes in communication. They think they must speak louder, sharper, or better than others to win. But in communication, speaking a lot does not mean being right. Speaking well does not mean being wise. Speaking strongly does not mean winning. Speaking little does not mean losing. True victory is creating value through your words. You may speak little, but change someone's thinking. You win. You may speak little, but ease someone's heart. You win. You may speak little, but earn respect. You win. You may speak little, but leave a lasting impression. You win. Wise communication is not about debating to outshine others. It is when your words make people want to listen. When you are silent, people want to speak. And when you leave, people want to see you again. 6. Proper conduct creates elegance in characters. Some people are rich, but not elegant. Some are poor, but radiate kindness, dignity, and class. Why? Because the most elegant part of a person is not money, it is how they behave. How you speak to a waiter, a driver, a janitor, reflects your character more than any luxury item. Graceful behavior means not looking down on anyone, not hurting anyone, not speaking harshly, not laughing at others. Pain, not obsessing over winning arguments. Proper conduct earns lasting respect, even when you are no longer present. 7. High-level communication. Speaking so others want to become better. The best part of communication is not teaching people how to live, but that your words make them realize they need to improve. A well-placed word can awaken someone help someone grow, make someone realize their mistakes, inspire someone to change. But to say such words, you must be understanding, attentive, compassionate, kind when you speak with maturity. People do not feel forced to change, they feel illuminated. That is awakening communication. 8. Silence when necessary. The pinnacle of mature communication. You do not always need to speak. Not everyone deserves to hear. Not every matter needs explanation. At a certain age, silence becomes the most elegant, wisest, and most valuable choice, because silence helps you Preserve energy, preserve. Dignity, preserve. Calm, preserve. Intelligence, preserve. Position, silence also says, I understand. But I do not wish to argue. I know, but I do not need to prove. I see, but I do not need to speak. The wise use silence as armor. It protects you from meaningless conversations, from those who speak much but have little wisdom, from trivial conflicts, not worth your energy. 9. Proper conduct is staying calm when others lose their composure. One of the greatest challenges in communication, keeping yourself when others lose themselves. If they are angry, gives you stay calm. If they are loud, gives you lower your voice. If they are chaotic, gives you maintain structure. If they attack, gives you step back and observe, not because you are afraid, but because you are wiser. You understand that 80% of an angry person's words come from emotion, not thought. Arguing with someone who is angry is like pouring gasoline on a burning fire. Proper conduct. Wait until they cool down, then speak. At that moment, every word carries weight. 10. The wise choose a gentle ending, not a harsh one. In communication, you will not always win. Not everyone will understand. Not everyone will treat you rightly, but you can choose a gentle ending. No hurtful words, no bitter goodbyes, no exposing others, no need to win, no leaving resentment behind. A gentle ending is not because they deserve it. It is because you deserve your own peace. No matter how kind you are, you cannot allow anyone to enter your life at will. No matter how generous you are, you cannot open your life without limits. No matter how much love you give, you cannot let someone drain your energy just because you don't want to say no. We often think being good at communication means speaking well, speaking tactfully, or speaking gently. But true wise communication sometimes is about saying no at the right time, setting clear boundaries, and protecting your own peace. 1. Boundaries. Create respect. Boundaries are not coldness. Boundaries are a polite reminder that this is what I can accept, this is what I will not allow, and if you respect me, you will understand this. People without boundaries live in guilt, exhaustion, people-pleasing, fear of upsetting others, fear of being judged. People with boundaries live proactively, use their time wisely and energy in the right. People speak little, but with certainty give without losing themselves. Wise communication is when you do not let anyone invade the part of your life that you need to breathe, to live, to be yourself. 2. Saying no at the right time is a survival skill. Many people are taken advantage of not because they are naive, but because they do not know how to say no. Saying no is not selfish. Saying no is how you protect time, health, metopia of mind. You cannot please everyone. You cannot solve every problem. You cannot save every relationship. You can only do one thing. Protect yourself before it's too late. A mature person does not say no to appear strong. They say no because they understand that no one can give when they are already depleted. 3. Knowing whom to hold on to and whom to let go. Not everyone who comes into your life brings goodness. Not everyone who seems friendly is trustworthy. Not everyone who says the right thing is someone you should keep. Wise communication is knowing how to categorize people to keep. Respect your boundaries. Speak honestly but kindly. Stand by you in tough times. Give sincere advice. Don't use you only when convenient. People to let go. Always demand, but never give a speak badly behind your back. And your growth make you more exhausted than happy. Intentionally cross your boundaries. Sometimes the most proper thing to do is let go of the right people. ***4. Protecting your energy is protecting your life as you mature. You will understand. Time is precious, is precious motions. Our precious peace is precious, and you will become more selective in communication. Avoid meaningless arguments, avoid energy draining people, avoid conversations without value, avoid those who complain but refuse to change, avoid places that tire you. You are not being cold. You are simply preserving your energy to live your life rightly. People who live deeply have one thing in common: they never waste energy on trivial matters. 5. Explaining too much, a sign of lost wisdom. Why over-explain? Those who want to understand you will understand. Those who don't want to understand will never get it. No matter what you say, over-explaining does not earn respect. It only makes others think you are trying to prove something. The truth is, those strong within never need words to justify themselves. They explain through actions and silence. Silence can mean, I don't want to prolong this. I know I am right. I don't need to argue. I choose peace over being right. I don't need anyone to give me value. I already have it. Silence is not weakness. Silence is the sophistication of someone who has seen it all. Point 6. Speak less about yourself and listen more. Ordinary people speak to be noticed. Smart people speak to be understood. Wise people speak little to listen more. Listening helps you understand what others truly need, see their character through words, grasp the reason behind their actions, know if they are worth staying for. Those who talk too much about themselves often lack inner stability. Those who listen well understand people and life more deeply than anyone else. Subtle communication is never about saying everything. It's about saying just enough for others. 2. Open up. 7. True friends communicate with honesty, not pretense. The truth, even when painful, has value. Pretentiousness, even light, is toxic. A good friend will dare to point out your mistakes. Tell the truth, even if you don't like it. Nate. Speak behind your back without saying it to your face. Not envy your success. Net remains silent. When you stumble, they come to you, not for benefit. They stay with you out of humanity. Fake friends speak two-facedly or joyce at your failure is sent. Your growth constantly compare it, pull you down to their level. Proper communication is knowing who to keep and who to politely close the door to with a smile. Point 8. Don't try to please everyone. No one lives your life for you. You don't need everyone to like you. You only need not betray yourself to be loved. Some people will dislike you simply because you are to kind, you are to silent, you are to be blio, are not like them. You are not easily controlled, and that is perfectly normal. You were not born to become the version others want. You were born to live your life by your own values. Proper communication does not cost your identity. 9. Always keep a private space no one can touch, no matter how open you are. Keep a place for yourself that no one can enter. Your deepest emotions here, greatest pain here, biggest dreams here, important plans here, silent efforts. This is not secrecy. It is the part of your soul you protect from being swept into the chaotic world outside. Those with a private space are never emotionally manipulated by others. Point 1. Oh. The wisest communication. Kind but not naive, generous but principled. Remember this as your guiding principle. Being good gives is fine. Being too good gives gets exploited. Being kind gives earns respect. Being kind to the wrong person gives gets taken for granted being soft. Gives is virtue being too soft. Gives is foolish being firm. Gives is strength being firm. At the right time gives is wisdom be kind, but set limits. Be good, but have principles. Give, but know how to protect yourself. Love others, but never forget to love yourself. This is the essence of mature communication. And now, as our 1-hour journey together is coming to an end, I want to share a few words with you. Slowly, deeply, and sincerely. In this life, everyone longs to be heard, understood, and respected. But sometimes we forget that. Wise communication and proper conduct begin from within ourselves. From calmness, from kindness, from a gentle attitude that is not weakness. From the small choices we make every day, which may seem insignificant, but actually determine the direction our lives take. If you have listened until this point today, it means you want to become a better version of yourself. You are choosing growth. You are choosing to speak in ways that do not hurt others, and to act in ways that do not bow to anyone. And that choice is truly worth honoring. Thank you, truly thank you for taking the time to listen. Thank you for patiently following until the very last moment. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to share, accompany, and touch your mind. Every view, every listen, every moment you spend on this content is the motivation for me to continue creating deeper and more valuable talks. And if you find these insights useful, if you want to continue receiving lessons on communication, proper conduct, life philosophy, and perspectives that make life lighter, take a few seconds to subscribe to the Life Wisdom channel. One small click, but it ensures you won't miss any upcoming videos. And it's also a way for me to know that there are still minds like yours listening, accompanying, and striving to grow every day. Once again, thank you very much. I wish you peace, clarity, and strength in every word you speak, every action you take, and throughout your journey of personal growth. See you in the next Life Wisdom videos.